things that people always seem to bring up again and again.
Yes. And that one question. Oh, am I going to have to answer them now? You're going to have me answer the common questions first? Wow, so you're not even going to ask me anymore? You just want me to start talking about what it was like to work with Bruce Campbell? Fine. Bruce is one of the best leaders that I've ever had. I was so fortunate to lock into a franchise that had somebody who is really good at his job, but also really cares about the people that he works with, and also wants to get home in time to watch the night news. So we got to go home pretty early on Ash vs. Evil Dead, so that meant when we were shooting, we're probably only going to do this once because we don't have time to clean up, so don't fuck it up. Yeah, you know, in a lot of ways, what I learned about Bruce, what I learned from Bruce was, if you're not having fun, then you're not doing it right. You're doing something wrong. And there wasn't a day on set, the set of Ash vs. Evil Dead, where I didn't have a good time. It was by far the best job that I have ever had. And if you've seen the show, you know that I've been tortured and just put through a blender of bloody situations. As a kid who grew up watching horror and loved comedy, it really was like I just went to work every day and got to play. So I'm super thankful for that.
Were you aware of the Evil Dead franchise before you joined?
That's another one of those stupid questions. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally. I'm kidding. I was aware of the Evil Dead franchise, and my favorite is Evil Dead 2. I tend to be a little bit more into like sort of like old school horror, and I felt like it captured the comedic element and the horror. And you know, because Army of Darkness is way out there, and Evil Dead 1 is like is pretty serious. So I think that our show was a combination of Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. I think, yes. I was aware of Sam Raimi. I think I probably watched Drag Me to Hell a little bit more than I watched Evil Dead, but that's just because of the time that I was sort of born and watched stuff. Yeah, you're welcome.
What are some of your favourite memories from your time on Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Some of my favorite memories on the set of Ash vs. Evil Dead would probably be being on a boat that Bruce would charter every Easter. We would go on these boats and travel around New Zealand, and it was just like we were this family, and we had a really great time. Bruce loved to have fun. So I'd say spending Easter on a boat with Bruce and the cast, spending a lot of time being tortured by Lucy Lawless, and learning how somebody as sophisticated and beautiful like her could be in this industry for so long and is not a diva and will hold a knife to someone's throat for an hour if she has to while they light whatever they need to light, because she understands that that there's so many moving parts. So I would say that a lot of the relationships I formed with the people there was very much like having a family away from home. What else were some of my favorite moments? Let's see. I would say, well, birthing demons out of my mouth was probably one of the first things that happened to me on the show, where I was like, oh, we're going a whole other direction here that I didn't realize. I called my mom and I called my mom and I said, hey mom, today I birthed demons out of my mouth. Aren't you proud? And it just got progressively crazier. You know, if you watch season 2, you know that on our show, shit happens. And if you watch season 3, we definitely blew our load. Season 3. Don't know if you guys have seen 1, 2, and 3, but you'll get it if you watched. I think also I really enjoyed the evolution of the character of Pablo. You know, Pablo started out as this loyal sidekick who was this idealistic immigrant who was living in this world where people didn't really pay much attention to him, and in idolizing the nincompoop that Bruce is, that Ash is, he sort of like finds his way and realizes that he can believe in himself. If Ash can do it, he can do it. And on the show, we get to, you know, really see the evolution of him go from sidekick to becoming his own hero and taking command of his own power. And I really felt like as a Puerto Rican actor this day and age, it's really important to see you know, Latino characters sort of have portrayed in a positive light. So it was really nice to, you know, be a hero, a superhero with powers. And so, yeah, I would say that was probably the biggest, you know, thing for me. Like as a kid, I grew up watching horror, and I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be the monster chasing after somebody, and I wanted to be the hero saving the girl. And on Ash, I'm one step closer to becoming the superhero I always wanted to be as a kid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How important was humor on set and on film?
So yeah, you know, that's what the Evil Dead franchise is, right? It's really this like beautiful combination of comedy, horror, gore, and it's all thrown in there, and you never know what you're gonna get. You know, I think Sam Raimi really, I think he created this genre of cult classic comedic horror in the 80s, and he really did it right and paved the way for so many other films. I think that it was always important not to take it too seriously, and also I didn't really realize this until one day I looked at myself in the trailer, in the makeup trailer, and I saw that my hair was like taller than Marge Simpson's hair. And then it became clear to me that, you know, we were these cartoons, that we were sort of this like animated, you know, graphic horror novel that came to life. And so it was always really important to be able to find the humor. And I think that for Pablo, you know, Pablo was the eyes of the audience, and he was the heart of the unit, you know, and Kelly was the brain of the unit, and Ash was the muscle. And somehow the three of us sort of created that family unit that made the show what it is. It was still sort of grounded in some sort of reality, but the fact that it was unpredictable and that we were always going to top every episode with something that you had never seen before that was completely out there, whether it was birthing demons out of my mouth or, you know, Bruce dodging diarrhea, or, you know, me being cut in half and sitting there with my legs in a black, you know, garbage bag talking to Ash. There was just so much absurdity on our show, and that's why I think our show was different than any other horror show out there. I mean, like, I love The Walking Dead, but oh my God, is it a soap opera on that show? It's just so much drama, whereas our show, from meeting fans, I got to see a different group of people who watched for different things, and it was bringing together, you know, whether it was a father and son, or, you know, somebody's wife was made to watch the show because her husband wanted to watch it, and then they fell in love with the show. So comedy was very important. I hope that answers your question. I had a cup of coffee before, so I tend to ramble.
You say you've been to loads of...
No more questions. We've got time to keep.
Let him answer it. You can.
It's a quick one. It's a real quick one.
It's okay.
You
I'm
say
fine
you've
on
been.
time.
You say you've been to loads of Comic Cons. What's the most starstruck you've been with a fellow actor that you've met at a Comic Con?
I'm so glad that I got to answer this question. I met Nev Campbell this year,
Amazing.
and you meet people, and you have this idea of who they are and who they're going to be, right? And you're either let down, or they don't let you down. And I mean, I never really fan out for people, but for her, I did, because like Scream, I grew up with Scream. It was, you know, what Evil Dead is to people, Scream is that for me. And we got to spend some time together in Germany, and we went to dinners together, and we talked about what is the key to sustaining your life in this industry outside of Hollywood, and like how to keep that going. And she was humble and kind, and it was family. Family was important, and you know, as somebody who is striving to have their own family and sort of balance that out, like when would you have time to raise kids when you're covered in gore and learning lines? Somehow, people make it work, and it's important. But yeah, she didn't let me down.
Awesome.
Loved hanging out with Nev. Thank you guys.
Thank you.